Okay, continuing the theme that different principles lead to other principles and helping you in living your life, I'm gonna go ahead and basically I'm gonna use an example of the movie Castaway, starring Tom Hanks as Chuck Nolan, and then I'm going to relate that to concepts like reason is absolute and how it might lead to the principle that reason is man's means of survival. Right away I want to deal with the criticism. Some people will say, sure, if I were stranded on an island, I'd use reason to survive. But in civil society, I can get away without using reason as my means of survival. And we'll look at that criticism, see if it's logical. I contend that even in civil society, you need reason. What you need is some person to perform reason in order to provide and create wealth and things that humans require to survive. Animals will just take from nature, feed off their environment, and just take from each other and from nature. And man has a mechanism of bending nature and reshaping it, and that's how he survives. So, let's go through my my board first. If reason is absolute, okay, if the way we find out whether something's true or not, helpful or not, good or not, right or not, harmful or not, is by the use of reason, then let's see what happens when we try to use different things besides reason to deal with the world. Okay, some examples of using different methods to deal with the world. You could do a thought experiment. It says, I wrote, try to deal with the world and each other by means of force. Okay, so if we use just by means of force, trying to deal with the world and each other, how far will we get? Will we be able to have civilized society? Will we be at each other's throats? Will any food that you gathered be taken away from you by the next person? If the only means that they had to deal with you was by means of force, just like animals, the only means they deal with each other is by means of force, then big animals take and eat smaller animals. Humans would eat smaller, would take from smaller humans, or it wouldn't be pretty. In fact, I believe humanity would not survive if force was all we had to deal with ourselves, each other, and nature. Okay, and you can see how wars work. Wars don't really create much good, and how would it work to deal with nature by the means of force? Let's say we wanted to get milk from a coconut. In the movie Castaway, Chuck Nolan is the main character, and he's cast away onto an uncharted island, and he has coconuts, but he can't open them. His first attempt to open them is through sheer raw brute force. Okay, he tries throwing them against a rock wall. Okay, the coconuts never open that way, and he tries other means. He puts the coconut onto a sharp rock, and he tries to bash it down onto the sharp rock, and that doesn't work. Again, it's mostly force, but a little bit of thought, a little bit of reason. That's pretty good. He's making headway. Then, when banging on top of a coconut with another rock, the rock splits and forms like an edge. And now he's got an edge. He really does have an edge. He takes the edge and kind of chips away at the outer. He starts to slice into the coconut with a sharp-edged rock, and that reveals, he gets him to the center where the coconut milk is. But what he had to do was he was trying things, okay, and he discovered by using his memory and his logic, basically reasoning, he discovered the best or a good way, a better way to do things to get food from nature. That's how humans work. They have to discover the means to get value in their life. They discover how to make things better, how to get things that they need. And you can't with a natural need, you can't just opt out of it, like the need for water. You can't say, well, I'm just going to go without. You can't. You have to find a means to get a steady supply of water. It might involve forethought. In the case of Castaway again, he discovered that every time it rained, the leaves collected some rain, and he could funnel that rainwater that's on top of a leaf into a hollowed out coconut. So now he has a steady water supply. He can store up water in coconuts whenever it rains. Okay? He was, using reasoning to, I won't say to bend nature to his will, but to adjust his environment so that it can support a human. Okay? And in the pinnacle of this is when he creates fire, and I'll give you a picture. You can see his face. Holy smokes! I just created fire. He is happy, and this is good. He can create fire. You can see the expression on his face. Okay, he had to think to do that. No animals ever create fire. They don't think that way. They don't need to. Animals come with sharp teeth or fangs, or in the case of herbivores, they come with, or birds, they'll come with like rocks in their stomach that are meant to help digest things. Animals, their nature is to simply live off the land. Kill or be killed, take what you can. That's how animals live. And then humans, we can create and adjust nature. So we can create like fire where fire had not existed before. We create wealth, basically. The things that would give us comfort or meet or nourish us can be created through the use of reason. Force didn't work. That's a good lesson from the movie. When you throw a coconut against a rock wall, well, maybe if you're Nolan Ryan instead of Chuck Nolan, okay, maybe you could whip a coconut fast enough, 90 miles an hour, into a wall. Okay, so force doesn't work. It doesn't work when we deal with each other, and it definitely doesn't work when we try to outforce or outmuscle nature. We're not built to do that. Okay, and then the next one, fraud. We can use fraud as a means to deal with ourselves and with nature. And I talked about fraud last video, or 2 videos ago, part 2. I mentioned how you can try to be dishonest in your life, and maybe it's appealing initially, like lying to someone to get some money or some praise from them, some sense of kind of secondhand self-esteem from them believing you, but that's going to be shallow, and it's going to be fleeting. Okay, so I talked about a different possible way of dealing with others that doesn't involve fraud, trading with them, like mutual consent and mutual benefit, entering into positive contracts with them, thoughtful things. You make a contract with other people, and if they give you what they offer, then you give them what you offer, and you both are better off. And you can kind of capitalize on all the thinking and creativity and productivity of like two different individuals. Okay, they're going to create some excess of value. That's because we're that good. Humans are that good. We can create excess of value, and then share the excesses with each other. and kind of improve the standard of living. Okay, so that's there's a principle of trade to mutual benefit, a principle of, and it relates to reason, using reason to deal with reality, and those things are all. Reason is like a foundation of that higher action that improves the value and makes life better for people. That we do this thinking, and fraud interrupts that, and a fraud, a person who reneges on a contract creates a disvalue. There's a net disvalue to using fraud. So you're trying to do a short circuit the process by being a con man, but you end up you take down the total amount of wealth in the world. When you do that, the total amount of value that could be had by you or anyone else. And then we can use faith would be another way to deal with the world and with each other. And in some cases, there may be some positives to faith at some specific times. With certain tribes, to get everybody in line, it might be good to say, hey, you gotta do it this way because God says so. And in maybe in a really prehistoric time and specific place, there might be some value to getting people to basically to believe that what you say God says is right. But I think that'll be fleeting too, just like fraud, because you're short-circuiting reason. You're anytime you put something ahead of reason or mindfulness, you lose eventually. Okay, and then feelings was another. Just dealing with the world and with each other through feelings. You could say manipulation. You could manipulate somebody into feeling guilt. You could say, hey, the altruist morality where you're supposed to sacrifice for others is the only way to be moral. Therefore, if you don't give me your money, your cash, your food, your water, whatever you got, you will have to feel guilty. And then, you play off their feelings. Or another way to look at using feelings to deal with the world is just really, really sit and want and sulk. When Tom Hanks was playing Chuck Noland, there was a time you could see in the movie where he was just sitting there, kind of just feeling and just wanting. And eventually, and feeling is an important part of being human. I don't want to discount that, but it doesn't. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't take precedence over using reasoning to make your life and the lives of others better off. Okay. So if you watch the movie, I'm not suggesting everybody has to watch the movie. I'm just saying, just think of Robinson Crusoe or Gilligan's Island, even, which gets a mention in Castaway. Anytime you're dealing with those situations are easy because you can see how important it is to be mindful when you're constantly under the threat of water scarcity, food scarcity, shelter from the the forces of nature. When you're under the threat of that, then you can see, oh yeah, reason was needed. That's how humans get along. It's because reason is our means of survival. In a world that can sometimes be unfriendly to us. I want to retract that. In a world that if we are mindless, will be unfriendly to us. But a world which will not bend to our will, a world which will be malleable enough because of the human power of reason, where you can make life better for yourself and others by paying homage to the way that you survive, the specific way of human survival, which is the use of reason. Okay, thank you.